Hello friends and welcome to My Hobby Home. If you are new here, my name is Cathy. I am a intermediate, I'm going to say intermediate quilter because there's still a lot for me to learn. I have been quilting for just a little over 2 years now. I made my very first quilt in 2023 for my grandbaby, and she will soon be 2 years old. But after I made that first quilt, I fell in love. So let me show you what we are going to be making today. We are making a block called the Itsy Bitty Bikini. Now, this is a block that I got at my local shop hop. I did see it's called Northern Exposure Shop Hop. It is put on by the local Quilters Guild. And guys, I did not know this when I saw this pattern, but look, it's foundation paper piecing as well. I do like foundation paper piecing. I'm going to show you what I have done. I have 2 pieces here, and the first thing I do is I take my tracing wheel and I run it around all of the solid lines on the pattern. I'm going to see if this will catch, the light will catch that. I don't know if it will, but you can see the perforations through the paper on that. I really like using this. Miss Dee Dee at my local quilt shop, she told me about this the first time I ever did foundation paper piecing. I have tried it other ways that people have done it. I just find this easier because I can see the holes on the back of this paper, and they don't have to be exactly on the line, because with this being foundation paper piecing, you are sewing on this side of your paper. So the holes, the serrations here, is just a guide so you know where to put your fabrics. And the good thing about this is, like it says A1, A2, A3. So you know which one goes first, second, and third. So we are going to start with the A. And this is the polka dots. This is my polka dot fabric that I got. And I have not cut it or anything. But what I am going to do, how you do this, you lay it face down. Okay, you lay your fabric face down, and then you put your paper on top of it. Now, this is your first piece. This is your first piece. You don't do this to all of them. So what I am going to do, since your first piece doesn't have to be flipped or anything, this is the first piece. So I could actually come in here and cut the fabric down if I wanted to, which I don't think I'm going to. What I think I'm going to do is flip it over. Now, I do have a glue stick here. I have the Sew-Line glue stick. And I know the A1 is the center, is this centerpiece right here. So what I'm going to do is put a little glue on that corner and a little glue on this corner. I know where my fabric has to go. So what I'm going to do is just lay this fabric over that. And what that does, that adheres, that it's a light adherence. It's not, and see, I can actually hold this up to the light. I don't know if you are going to be able to see it. But I can hold this up to the light, and I can see if it is covering the lines. And I can see that it is. Because what I will do, I will cut this. I will trim it away. Friends, did y'all catch what I just did there? I put the fabric the wrong direction. So I just pulled it off. We're going to try this again. we're going to put our little glue dot here again because I had to pull the fabric off. And when you put your fabric on the back side, it should be face up on the back side. So let me get this. I'm just trying to line that up right there so I know it covers that amount. Okay, so we've got that. So the first piece when you're sewing is going to be looking like it's upside down to you. Well, you won't really be able to see any other ones because they'll be front facing to the front of your first fabric, because then that's where you're going to flip. And with foundation paper piecing, I keep my stitch at 2.5. And if you're new to foundation paper piecing, don't be afraid of it. It is like with everything else, it just takes a little practice. Now for this one, I'm not going to cut anything on this one yet, because when you trim it is when you put that second piece on. So the second piece is going to be a white. Now I can actually trim this if I want to, and let me go on and do that. Let's go on and get that out of the way. And how you can trim is you just fold at your line, and then I'm going to show you what else I'm using here. I have my add a quarter. I put that add a quarter, I'm going to show you right here. It has a groove. You put that right there on that paper and you just cut right there. So I'm going to put this down on my table so I can do this. But you go all the way around what you just sewed, and you do that add a quarter to it. And I'll show you what it looks like once I'm done. Because I believe I'll be using the polka dot twice. Okay, this is what it looks like once you trim it off. Now, I could easily come over here and do the other polka dot, but I'm going to stay on this one first. Because, let me get my polka dot out of the way. We can do one side at a time, and that way we have no confusion. So the next thing we use is our white. And the white is just going to be a small piece. So I'm actually going to just cut a piece off of the white that I think will cover that. I think that'll cover it. And the good thing about white is it doesn't matter what size you use. So I am just going to lay it on here. I'm not even going to glue this because it's so small. It's not really necessary. Now from this one, I will press. Okay, so now we're going to turn this around. Now I could have cut each square out, but I didn't, because it doesn't bother me that it's on the full sheet. So let's see if when I flip, yep, it covers, barely, but it covers. So what I have to do now is fold this down because I need to trim this. We're going to do that at 1/4 inch. And then when I pull this up, it covers. Let me make sure. It may not cover. It shows that it does. I'm going to press real quick. It does cover, which you can't see because of the paper there, but it does cover. where it's supposed to cover there. I'm not going to do anything with that. That was the 2. Oh, that was the 3. My goodness, I done got out of order, haven't I? But it's the same fabric and they're not connecting, so I think it's going to be okay. I'm going to cut another piece of white. So I have another piece of white here that will cover up that next block. So I always forget this part, y'all. So here we're going to go ahead and get on this. So guys, I mean, that's me. I forget, but I go back, and this is true sewing. This is sometimes how it happens. Sometimes you forget, which is not unusual for me to forget. But now what I'm going to do is press this way. I actually don't, I can trim that if I want to, but I don't have to. Let me go on and do it though. Since I am here, we can go on and get that 1/4 inch on there. Some people do not trim theirs down to that 1/4 inch. I do, just because it keeps it from becoming real bulky. So let me press. Now also, sometimes people do not sew that first piece on. They just glue it on. I went on and tacked mine down. But what I'm going to do, I am going to go ahead and fold this. Let me see if that gives me that 1/4 inch it's supposed to give me. It does. I'm going to go on and fold this and trim it down to the square that it should be. I do not normally mark the outer line, and that's because it's always 1/4 inch from the last marked line, or the serrated looking line is the one you follow to sew on. So what I'm doing is just folding it all the way around on that serrated line. It may or may not give you a full 1/4 inch. It should if you covered it all the way. I just noticed I had one little spot that the fabric wasn't a 1/4 inch. It was closer. But as long as I know that. Okay. So now this is what my square looks like. So now we're going to the other side that we will be using our polka dot. And let me see, I don't think I need a huge piece. I don't know where all on this I'm using we just use the polka dots on 2 places. I'm cutting it at an angle here. That'll be fine. Not too worried about it. We're going to put our glue, if I can find it. We're going to take our glue stick and just mark the 2 corners where it has to adhere. And I'll show you, instead of sewing this on, I'll show you, since I'm not going to sew that at all, I will show you how we do it. I'm taking it, I'm laying it face up. I am making sure that it covers the whole area, and it does. So that is glued on. I'm just going to show you how you can do it without having to. I'm going to go ahead and sew this one all the way on. Even though, let's not do that, because I said I wasn't going to do that. Now, I need a white. Now, I will be using more of this white for other pieces on this. So, I have to be very careful how much white. I can't just cut into the white, because I will be making some strips. Now, but this white, we're going to go for the 2 first. So we're just going to put this right here, and I am folding this up because that fabric there's got a little bend in it, so I've got to lay it flat. So on the 2, we're just putting the needle down on the line that connects the A1 and the A2. And y'all, when you press, do not use steam or spray starch or anything, because that will cause your pattern to mess up. Okay, so we have that 2-second piece done, and we're just trimming it all, cleaning it up. So when I flip this, I know it is going to cover that line. So what we do is, once again, we fold on that line that we just sewed, and we're going to take our add a quarter. We're making sure everything is flat, nothing's rolled up under there. We don't want to have any mishaps cutting fabric that should not be cut. And when I press this, it'll do a lot better. But I've got that fabric that wants to fold under. So now we have our white fabric. I'm going to press. And y'all, this is going to show you why foundation paper piecing is so fabulous. Because you can come in here and, you know, just use a very small piece of fabric, sew it on the lines, and when you press it, it is going to be such a sharp, crisp seam. This here is also got a little fold under that fabric. I'm going to hit it with that heat before I lay it over here. I didn't realize that they had more than one foundation paper block for this quilt. This is really exciting. And I believe when I was at the shop that had this block, I purchased a fabric bundle to make the quilt out of this I guess it was a finishing or something, but I'm not real sure what it was. I'll have to read what it was. I bought like more than one fabric thing. I bought this, and I bought the another fabric pack. Now this is what it looks like before I trim it all up on all 4 sides. So I'm going to trim that up all the way around. Oh, I hear the thundering again, guys. We're having those summer storms come through, and actually they're saying starting tomorrow, this is caused by a cold front that's supposed to be trying to move in on us. It's not going to get really cold at night. I think the low is going to be like 67, 68, somewhere like that. And, you know, so to me, that's not really. So next, we are done with the purple. So let's get the purple out of the way. Next, we have vertical stripes. Now, I see some little bitty vertical stripes, and I see some little pieces, really is, and they're supposed to go side to side. This one doesn't look like it goes side to side. Oh, vertical. They go this way. I don't know why, but I'm thinking horizontal stripes. But what I'm going to do is just, I'm going to put my add a quarter on the fabric. And then cut it the size of my ruler. Well, I'm not going to add a quarter on there because it does need to be a little bit. So I'm cutting this. That way I'm making sure I have enough just in case. So we've got our vertical stripes, and now we need a white. And that white is, I'm going to cut it the same way as, now I don't want to cut all of it right here. I want to cut my white on this side right here. And the reason of that is because I need to cut 2 long strips, and that is probably going to be the length of it. I don't know. These blocks aren't that long, but I don't want to risk cutting the fabric the wrong way and not having enough to do my 2 long strips that I have to have. So we have got this done. So now we're working on our C part. And this is our C. We've got a long, and then we've got 2 pieces there. So I am going to glue the white on. I'll just put my 2 marks on both ends there. And then I am going to put my, okay, so where my glue is how I know where the inside of my line is. So I've got that vertical stripe. I'm trying to get that right on that purple stripe. Trying to get it there. But if it's not on there, it is okay. But I'm going to go ahead and do the other one as well, the other side for the vertical stripes as well. So we can press both of them at the same time. Now let me get that vertical piece here. Looks like that's pretty close. So what I'm going to do is turn this over and see. I'm going to keep this paper like this so I can see. I do this a lot of times where I can see the line and try to place it where I want it. Because like this has those stripes, and I want it to press at a certain place on the stripes. And guys, we are just running along with this foundation paper piecing. If you are not aware of foundation paper piecing, or you're aware of it but intimidated by it, like I was the first time I ever did foundation paper piecing, I was terrified of it. I was so afraid I was going to mess something up, but I didn't. Okay, y'all, I am going to turn this and stitch all the way around on that stitch line on all of these, just so they stay in place, because I don't like that they're flopping around. Okay, so I have the first one stitched all the way around. But guys, foundation paper piecing it's fabulous. I know a lot of people, they're like, well, why don't you just piece it? Sometimes they're so small that it's really hard to piece them. And I mean, I know I've seen people do, 1-inch pieces, but this just, it makes everything be exact. Okay, now I have these cut out. So our next thing, we've got another step that will use okay, it looks like it's just going to use the white and the stripes. So the stripes are going to go side to side, like this. So let me go ahead and let's get our glue down. And I have to make sure that I have my fabric turned the correct direction. Okay, so we have our fabric here. So now we have whites. Okay, so our D2 is going to be a long white strip. Now, once again, I'm trying to not touch this side. So I'm having to see how long is that white strip. Can I get it with that? Yes, it's going to be very close though, but it'll work. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and sew on the line that I'm going to be sewing on with the white. That way I can see where my stitch line is, so I know where I can lay that white fabric, because it's hard to see through the paper with that dark fabric. So all I'm doing here is just kind of marking my line here on the fabric, and it holds that fabric too steady, because I kind of want the lines to go straight side to side. And here, because I am going to put glue on this to hold it, because this is, I'm gonna put the glue on the white. It's just easier to do it that way. So now I have that white laid on top. We are going to flip. Wait, I can't have it lined up right on that line. I need to raise it up just a little bit. I put it right on that line, and that's not good. I need it raised up just a little bit so I can sew in it. So now we're going to sew on our white piece. And guys, I hope y'all are enjoying the foundation paper piecing here. It really is fun to do. And it leaves the guesswork out of everything. You just sew on the line. It's just like tracing. You're tracing the line with your needle. That's all you're doing. So now we're going to fold and trim. So I will fold, trim, and then press. Okay, so now we have that white on, and we have 2 more pieces of white here. And I'm just looking to see how much. I'm just going to go on and cut both of the pieces at the same time. Better watch out and not cut my other thing there. Okay, so now our next pieces are white. I am going to put some glue on this fabric. I'm going to press this first. And what I'm going to try to do is take the glue and find my line there and press that down. I know the larger piece is one of the reasons I'm having trouble seeing where it goes. But we will trim that large piece off here in just a second. Well, not a second. It's going to be, we got to get all of them put together first. I'm sure this is going to be just as easy as piecing. And I too am kind of wondering why are we not just piecing this? Because these are really easy. I guess because they're odd triangle shapes. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's why. I don't need this big piece of fabric here. I can go on and just trim that one. So So the next piece is our D4. Oh, I had my white laid under there and did not realize it. So I do have to go on and press this fabric up because it makes a point. So what I'm going to do is put a little glue on this edge and lay it up there. Well, not lay it up there, I'm laying it under here. So, whoops, I need it to go that direction. You always have to remember that you have to flip it. So you have to make sure you're putting it in the right place. So we're having to do this one this direction here. And guys, I'm going to go on and press and trim this and get it ready for us to start putting it together, okay? And I'll be right back. Okay, now it is time to start assembling our pieces. So let's get them together here. I can tell one of them, this piece right here is barely. I don't know that I'm not going to get 1/4 of an inch, but what we are going to do here is, first thing we have to do is take our 2 pieces. Is the big one? The little one is on the bottom. Okay. So we have to put these 2 together. Now what I am going to put a pin in this just to make sure that my seams are even. They should be. Yeah, they look like they're pretty close. So what I'm going to do, I'm not putting those in there. I'm just checking to see the little ones go to the bottom, the outside. So this is the way they go. So I am going to sew these 2 pieces together. I guess I could pin them, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to pin them because I am going to be sewing on that line. Well, at first I'm going to be sewing on, and then I'm going to pull this over to make sure. Okay, so we have that first piece done, and it says in the instructions to leave the paper on. So we have these 2. So now we're going to put our top piece on. I'm going to just do them. Well, you know what? I can't really do this with these on here, because I'm going to go ahead and take this part off, because I do need to press this open so it does lay flat. Because now this kind of piece is like rows. Like this little skinny piece I have here is going to be the top row, and then the other piece, this piece here, is going to be the middle row. I'm going to press this open here, and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is what the top of our itty bitty bikini is looking like. So now we are to attach our straps on the top of it. We're making sure here we're all lined up. I am going to put a pin in this one also and make sure, just because we are spot on. And as I was telling you earlier, if you're intimidated by this, it really is, the more you do it, the more comfortable you get with it. So if you go out there and look on Moda's website, they have some blockheads that have foundation paper piecing in it. Okay, guys, so here is our next piece. This is our bikini bottom, and we are going to assemble these two together. But that may be a way to start foundation paper piecing, because it is just a block. It is not having to assemble like this. I've never assembled before like this, so this is definitely a first for me. And it's not really that hard. You do just have to figure out. And it's like A, B, C, D. So you know which one you should be doing first. Okay, I'm not going to press. I'm going to go on and show you what we have here. Before I press and take my... Y'all look at that. This is our itty bitty bikini here. So look at this. This is from the 2025 Northern, let me make sure, yeah. It's North Louisiana Quilters Guild Northern Exposure Shop Hop. That's what this is. This is what this block is from. It was from Quilteroos in Ruston, Louisiana. If you're interested in their information, you may want to freeze that screen and blow it up right there. But guys, don't you love this? It's beautiful, isn't it? Give me a thumbs up before you head out of here. If you have not yet subscribed, please do. The month of August, it may seem like I'm doing a lot of the same things because I'm trying to wrap up before I start new projects in September. But leave a comment. Tell me what you think. I do try to respond to each and every comment personally. And as always, until I see you again, I hope you have a very blessed day. Bye, guys.